Okay, so last night's homework, page 94, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Right, were you okay with 1? Answer is 2i, 10i, 8i, 7i and I. Or 1i. 1i, same thing. Are we okay with that? Real part 2, imaginary part 5i. Real part 6, imaginary part minus 2i. Take the signs. Right, real part minus 1, imaginary part 9i. Real part minus 3, imaginary part I. Real part A, imaginary part BI. Real part a half, imaginary part minus 3i. Right, part 7, VII. Real part minus 4. Right, imaginary part 0. There is no imaginary part. Okay, so 0. Yeah, so that's 0. See that one? So the real... Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's grand. Right, okay. Here, real part nothing, 0. Real part 0. Imaginary part minus 3i. Okay, so there's no real part here. Right, part ix. Real part 0. There is no real part. Imaginary part I. Right, and then real part x minus 2. Right, imaginary part 6i. Right, so x minus... No, it's not alright, I'll be gone. Right, okay. Real part x minus 2, imaginary part 6i. Right, write each of the following in a plus bi. So you change the square root of minus 16 to 4i. So that's 6 plus 4i. Did we get that? Yeah. Well, A is 6 and B is 4.
Okay, so I wouldn't need to put in like...
Yeah, you don't have to put in the A and the B. They just mean write it as a real bit plus an imaginary bit. Okay? So the next one is 11i, or 0 plus 11i if you like. Right? The next one is minus 2 minus 10i. Sorry, I'm having math issues here. Right, and the last one is 2 plus, now the square root of 8 we don't know, right, but if you do the square root of 8 on your calculator, it'll tell you 2 root 2, right, okay, so we don't know, do you know the way it's 2 plus the square root of minus 8. Now, I think I might get a pin that works. I have to start dumping these because I keep keeping them. Right, 2 plus the square root of minus 8. Is that alright? Okay, so that's 2 plus the square root of 8 multiplied by the square root of minus 1. Now we don't know the square root of 8. Normally it's like the square root of 16 or the square root of 9 or the square root of 25. It's a square root of something we know. So what you do is you can just leave that as the square root of 8 and change that to I. So 2 plus the square root of 8i. But if you put it into your calculator, the square root of 8, girls, the calculator will tell you that 2 root 2 is the same as square root of 8. So you can write it like that. So you could write it like that, or you can write it like that. Okay? Is that alright? Where did that come from, the calculator? Okay, so if you put in the square root of 8 into the calculator and press equals, it'll spit it out 2 root 2 as you. It's the exact same number. Is that alright? Just written in a different way. Are we okay with that? Right. Moving on. So, I'm sure you can't see that because it's all blown up. Right. Okay. So, today we're going adding, subtracting and multiplying complex numbers. So, adding and subtracting is first. Right? Okay, so basically add the real parts and add the imaginary parts. Add the real parts.
Rachel, you're recording.
I am. Thank you. So, I remembered for a change. Now this is a bit like algebra. You know in algebra where you add the x's, you put the x's together and you put the numbers together.
What's that say?
Imaginary parts, yeah. So this will make more sense when you see my example. Example 1. So if I add 3 plus 2i plus 4 minus 3i. Okay, so there's one complex number, there's another complex number. I want you to add them, right? First thing I'm going to do is drop the brackets, okay? Right, because there's a plus there in the middle, I don't have to worry about signs. We'll see an example in a minute where there'll be a minus in the middle and I'll have to change the signs. But here it's a plus, so that means the signs stay the same. God, that was awful. Right, okay. So a plus means the signs stay the same, so there's no change. We'll see one with a minus in a bit. And so all you have to do to add them, girls, is you add the real bits and add the imaginary bits. Which are the real bits? The bit 3 and 4, the bits with no i's. So 3 plus 4 makes 7, right? And plus 2i minus 3i. Plus 2i minus 3i would be minus 1i or minus i. Do you want to put in the 1? You can if you want. Okay, so it's minus 1i or minus I. Is that okay? That's your answer. Right? We okay with that? So it's really like algebra. Okay, except instead of x's, we have i's. Example 2. Okay, so I might do the same numbers, except this time I'll put a minus in the middle. So this time I want you to take them away. Now, I have to remove the brackets, but I have to be careful removing the brackets because when there's a minus in the middle, what happens to the signs in the second bracket? Say that again? Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry, I cut off example 1. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah. Right. Okay, when there's a minus in the middle, what happens? All the signs in the second bracket what? Change. So the first bracket stays as 3 plus 2i. What happens to the second bracket? It becomes minus 4 plus 3i. Okay? So remember, a minus outside the bracket changes all the signs inside the bracket. Same as algebra, nothing new here, just reminding ourselves. Now we put the real bits together. So what are the real bits? 3, it's not 4 though, it's 3 minus 4, isn't it? So what's 3 minus 4? Minus 1. And then you put the imaginary bits together. So what are the imaginary bits? 2i and 3i make, yeah, plus 5i. And that's my answer. Is that okay? Right, example 3. Now, sometimes there might be a multiply as well. You have to multiply into the brackets. So if I say I have minus 5 minus 3i plus 2 times 4 plus 5i. Is that okay? So same as algebra. I need to drop the brackets, so I need to multiply into the second bracket. The first bracket stays the same. What happens to the second bracket? What do I get?
2 by 4.
Which is 8, and then the rest of it?
2 by 5.
10i. 2 5 by 10. 2 by 5 is 10. And then you put your real bits together. So what are my real bits? Minus 5 plus 8. So you're at minus 5 and you're coming up 8. Well, I end up at 3. And what about your imaginary bits? It's minus 3, so you're starting at minus 3 plus 10. So you're at minus 3, you have to come up 10. Where'll I end up? Plus 7i, isn't it? Okay, and that's your answer. Is that okay? We're not live. See, bother with that. Oh, okay, I will. Right. What if there was just letters? So, example 4. If I just had letters, so I have A plus BI plus C plus DI. Okay, is that alright? So that's basically just drop the brackets because it's a plus. So it's A plus BI plus C plus DI. And basically they just want you to write the real bits beside each other. So what are the real bits? A plus C. And what's the imaginary bits? Plus BI plus DI. And that'll do. And or you can actually put so the real bit is A plus C. And the imaginary bit is, you can just take the I outside the bracket. B plus D times I.
Do you have to do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't get hung up on that at all because you'll never be asked anything like that. Okay, is that alright? So I wouldn't get hung up on it at all. Yes, I'll never ask you a question like that. Okay, I promise. Okay, example 5. Now this is more like what they'll ask you in an exam, right? Okay, so they'll tell you Z1 is equal to 2, so that's a Z, 2 plus 3i. Z is just, Z1 is, the first complex number is 2 plus 3i, right? The second complex number, we call it Z2. I'm just putting a cross in my Z's because my Z's start to look like 2's after a while, so just so you know it's a Z and not a 2. So my second complex number, minus 1 minus 4i, okay? And then they'll ask you for what's Z1 plus Z2. Okay, so it's just another way of asking you to add them. So what's Z1? What's Z1? 2 plus 3i. And then I want to add, and I put them into brackets. Just in case there's a minus sign, there's a plus sign now, so it won't make a difference. But just, so I have a good habit. Right, what's Z2? Minus 1 minus 4i. Then I drop the brackets, so I have 2 plus 3i. Remember, a plus doesn't affect any sign in the bracket, so that's still a minus 1, it's still a minus 4i. Real bits together, imaginary bits together. So what will I get? 2 minus 1 is 1. And plus 3i, take away 4i, what would that be? Minus I, wouldn't it? Plus 3 minus 4 is minus 1i. Okay, and that's my answer. Is that okay? So I'm going to pause the recording there. Right, no, I have to stop it. So